It's 3 in the morning, you've been awake for an hour, and your brain has decided, without consulting you, that this is the perfect time to revisit a conversation you had 3 years ago. The thing you should have said, the thing you wish you hadn't, the look on someone's face that maybe meant something. You're not choosing to think about this. It's just running. If that's familiar, you're not broken. Marcus Aurelius had the same kind of mind. He was an emperor, a philosopher, and a man who lay awake at night. And he had a tool for what's happening to you. It's 19 centuries old. It still works. In Stoic philosophy, there's a word for the part of you that has these loops at 3 a.m. The Hegemonikon, the ruling faculty, the part that thinks, judges, decides, narrates. Marcus mentions it on nearly every page of his Meditations because he understood something that took modern psychology 2,000 years to catch up to. The Hegemonikon can either be the one running your mind or the one being run by it. And when it's tired, distracted, or unguarded, like at 3 a.m., it stops running and starts being run. The thoughts arrive on their own. The judgments stack themselves automatically. The story writes itself, and you find yourself inside it, watching from no clear distance. This isn't a moral failing. It's not weakness. It's not even technically anxiety. It's a faculty that hasn't been trained, doing its untrained best in the worst possible conditions. Let's name what's actually happening at 3 a.m. The lights are off, the room is quiet, your conscious mind, the part of you that normally has options and distractions, has powered down. But your background processing hasn't. It's still running, still scanning, still tagging. And in the dark, without anything else to attend to, it surfaces what it's been holding. The conversation from 3 years ago, the email you forgot to send, the thing your mother said, the way you felt at that party. These aren't random. Your mind has been carrying them, waiting for a moment quiet enough to surface them. That's not punishment. That's how memory consolidation works. But what happens next is the problem. You don't just observe the thought, you react to it. You add commentary. You judge yourself for having it. You try to push it away, and the pushing makes it louder. 5 minutes later, you're not just remembering, you're rebuilding the whole emotional state of the original event. Your heart rate is up, your jaw is clenched. You are, functionally, back in that moment. This is what Marcus called being run by the Hegemonikon. The faculty meant to rule is now being ruled. Now, here's what Marcus actually wrote. In Meditations Book 5, he opens by talking about getting out of bed in the morning, but the philosophy applies just as well to not being able to fall asleep at night. Elsewhere he writes, "Such as are thy habitual thoughts, such also will be the character of thy mind." That's not motivational, that's diagnostic. The thoughts you allow to repeat are the architecture of who you become. And the corollary, the harder part, is that you have more say in this than you think. Marcus separated what he called the impression from the assent. The impression is the thought when it first appears, the image, the face, the feeling of dread. That, Marcus said, you don't control, it arrives. The assent is what comes next. The moment you treat the impression as true, as real, as something happening to you now, as something you have to react to. The Stoic claim, and this is where it gets uncomfortable, is that nearly all suffering lives in the assent, not the impression. Marcus didn't think you could stop having intrusive thoughts at 3 a.m. He thought you could stop believing them automatically. That single distinction is what makes Stoicism a survival technology and not just a philosophy. So, what is the discipline of assent, actually? It's not denial. It's not don't think about it. He thought about everything. His meditations are full of dark thoughts. Fear of death, regret, anger, grief over his own children. The discipline isn't to suppress the impression, it's to notice the gap between the impression arriving and your reaction to it. That gap is small. At 3 a.m., it can be less than a second, but it's there. And what happens in that gap is everything. Most untrained minds automatically affirm whatever the impression suggests. Thought, I shouldn't have said that. Assent, yes, true, I'm a terrible person. The trained mind, and this is a skill, not a personality trait, learns to insert a pause, to notice the impression, to say internally, a thought has arrived, to examine it before assenting. That's the discipline. That's the whole technology. And it's harder than meditation, more durable than therapy, and the reason Stoics could face exile, illness, and execution without losing their composure. Here's the practical version. 3 steps. Use them tonight when you're lying awake. Step 1. Name it. When the thought arrives, name not the content, but the category. A memory, a worry, a self-judgment. Even saying it inside your head creates the gap. You go from being in the thought to standing next to it. Step 2. Withhold assent. This is the hard one. You don't have to push the thought away. You don't have to argue with it. You just decline to treat it as currently true. Let the impression be an impression. Step 3. Return. Return to your breath. Return to the present sensation of being in bed, the cool of the pillow, the weight of the blanket, the temperature of the air, because they're real. And they're now. When you do this, and you have to do it again and again and again, in the same hour, what happens isn't that the thoughts stop, they keep coming. What changes is your relationship to them. They lose their power to drag you out of the present. You're still in your bed. The thought is somewhere else. You can see it from here, but you don't have to live in it. I want to be honest about something before we close. This is a skill, not an insight. Reading this video doesn't fix anything. Marcus didn't write Meditations in a weekend. He wrote it over years, often as a soldier in winter campaigns on the frontier of an empire that was collapsing. The entries repeat themselves. The same advice, over and over, because he kept needing it. You will lie in bed tomorrow and forget all of this. You'll be inside the 3 a.m. loop again. You'll catch yourself 5 minutes in, and then you'll try the protocol, and it won't work the first time. Or the second. That's not failure. That's the practice. The reward isn't no thoughts. The reward is thoughts that don't kidnap you. The reward is the first night you notice the loop starting, and you say, almost automatically now, a memory has arrived, and you let it pass, and you fall asleep. That night will come. It came for Marcus, it will come for you, and then it will leave again. And you'll do the work again. That's the deal. That's been the deal for 1900 years. Thank you for being here. If this was useful, Gregory Hayes' translation of the Meditations is linked below. It's the one to read. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.